Hello and welcome to this mini training on human design, the decision-making system. So I wanted to go really deep into the head centers, the ajna, the mind, the ego, and all of the details. But actually, I don't think that's necessary right now or the purpose of this actual session. What this session is to actually really introduce you to the foundations of what human design is really about and how it links to decision making. So human design is not a personality system or a personality test. One of the biggest misconceptions about human design is that it's simply telling you who you are. That's part of it, but it's not. It's not what it's about. At the core, human design is a decision-making system. It's answering one question. How do I make decisions that are aligned with my unique design instead of making decisions from fear, conditioning, or overthinking? Because the quality of your life is simply the accumulation of your decisions. Your relationships, your career, your business, your money, your health, everything comes back to how you make decisions. Why the mind isn't designed to make decisions. This is probably the biggest paradigm shift in human design. Your mind is brilliant, but it isn't your inner authority. The mind exists to observe, to be an outer authority, to question, to imagine, to conceptualize, to communicate, to solve problems, and to share your unique perspectives with other people, to create, to inspire. But it's not designed to make decisions about your life. Think of your mind as Google. It's incredible at gathering information, but Google doesn't know what's right for you. The head center at the top of our chart is designed to ask questions. The purpose of this center is inspiration. It creates curiosity, ideas, wonder, possibilities. It's not trying to tell you what to do. It's simply asking, what if? But we've been conditioned to believe that the mind is how we are led, how we make decisions. So the Ajna Center, which is just beneath the mind, and together they comprise our mind and the ego. The Ajna takes those questions and creates meaning. It's an awareness center. What you need to understand about the head center is that it's a pressure center. It's under pressure to know. Which is why when we're not aligned with our design and we don't understand how our unique energy blueprint is working, we are thinking that our mind is in control. Now, when I first had my awakening and I began to come into alignment way before human design, the first thing I learned to develop was my neutral observer. And through meditation, I began to silence the mind. Now, this is only really possible with an open head and an open mind, open ajna. A defined head is going to struggle. They have a very different way of thinking and their mind is very, very active. So yes, meditation and yes, working with the mind, but working with it is going to be very different. You're probably never really going to still it enough to get to that silence. When I developed the witnessing observer and I began to develop that work, and that's also body of work that I have available, the phrase that I used to use was, make your mind a servant to the soul, so that you can actually stop being driven by the ideas, the thoughts, the the noise of the mind, all these, oh, I should do this, I should do that. It's always going to, it wants to know. It wants to know. So it's going to constantly try and guide you and lead you into making decisions, to release the pressure. Oh, I'll just do that. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm indecision. I'll just do that. That's not how we make the decision. That's the mind under pressure. So when we do human design alignment coaching, you learn tools to work with the energetics of your system. So the head center creates meaning and builds concepts, beliefs, theories, frameworks. Again, all of the things that you get to share with others, opinions. The Ajna wants certainty. It wants to understand. It wants everything to make sense. Now, this is incredibly useful when you're teaching, when you're writing, when you're sharing your viewpoint and perspectives, when you're creating, when you are leading. But it isn't your decision-making authority. So what is the problem? The problem is that most of us have been taught to live from our heads and our minds. So we overthink, we analyze, we seek certainty. And not the type of certainty that I like to talk about a lot, which is a frequency of surrender and moving in frequency of trust. The certainty that the mind wants is the kind of certainty that is craving absolute answer, knowing what to do, the stability of the thing that's going to come next. And I break this down in my framework when I work with the shadow around the 4 survival shadow archetypes that are the spokespeople of our mind. So I talk about this. I talk about them as the victim, the prostitute, the the saboteur, or the logician. And they have their higher archetypes as well, which is the lover, the sovereign, etc. But the warrior. But what happens is, really, these voices, the victim, did I mention the victim? These voices are actually the spokespeople for all our openness. So where we are conditioned in our open centers, the not being enough, if you have an open emotional solar plexus, you probably may have learned to keep the peace because other people's emotional energy is amplified for you, so it's too much. So the system teaches us how our energy works with others and the kind of predictable patterns of behaviors that we have then been conditioned to operate in to survive, right? These survival behaviors and patterns. But when I talk about the 4 shadow archetypes and these voices, really what that is a language to talk about the different ways the mind and the head seek certainty, seek to be in control, seek to create a sense of stability. So we make pros and cons. We make lists. We ask everybody else. We want the committee. We wait until we feel 100% sure. But human design suggests that certainty does not necessarily create alignment, because your mind cannot know what your body knows. So where do decisions come from? Human design says your authority lives in your body. Your body knows before your mind understands. Your authority tells you where to listen. Now, I'm not going to go into working with the body and trauma and the process that we have to go through to be able to trust our body and our true decision-making strategies, which is, again, why I've developed a whole body of work to help people to really decondition. But ultimately, human design shows you, when we get your energetic blueprint, that you have a unique decision-making strategy that is in your body, that you have to learn to come home to. And I'm not going to go into the nuance about what fear can feel like, this and that, or whatever. This is not a video for that, okay? So Now I'm going to go through the different authorities. So we have emotional authority. So if your emotional solar plexus is defined, colored in, you have emotional authority. This means you never decide in the emotional high or the emotional low. Clarity comes over time. If you have a defined emotional center, it means you have an emotional wave that you need to work with. So you need to ride that emotional wave and then decide. You'll probably never have 100% clarity. You're probably going to get to around 70%, but again, something you need to work with. There's no one size fits all for that. Then we have the sacral authority. If you are a generator or a manifesting generator with sacral authority, your body already knows. You don't need to think. You'll feel a gut response. And again, this thing of, trust your gut, that's only true for 70% of the population, sacral beings. So this idea that intuition just comes through trusting your gut is not the case for everybody, which is why I love human design, because it shows you your unique blueprint. So you're looking for a full body yes or a full body no. And you must trust that response before your mind starts negotiating. This is the work that we do. Now, splenic authority, which is what I am, is the kind of authority that allows you to just walk away from your life, let go of all your possessions and trust that this thing is correct for you in the moment. But it's also the kind of authority that allows you to get off the bus when you know that something not right is happening and saves your life. So if you're splenic, your intuition speaks once, quietly, in the present moment, which is why your body and looking after your body and becoming super present is so key for splenic authority. It's instinct. It's a knowing. I get full body tremors. I call it the tremor of truth. It's a whisper. So before I knew about human design, I would call it the tremor of truth, where I get shudders, I get goosebumps, I get full body sort of feeling when something's either resonance in truth or, yep, just got it just now, or when something is like when I have to walk away. It doesn't repeat itself. And the challenge isn't hearing it, it's trusting it. Now, again, before human design, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when I began my journey, when I was wandering the earth, and I was beginning to tune and be led by my own inner knowing and my intuition, I developed a program called Unlock Your Intuition. And again, it was because it was built on the embodiment work that I was doing. And one of the activities was to think back retrospectively to when you knew, when you were guided from within, but you didn't follow your intuition or your inner knowing or guidance. And that will help you to start to see the pattern and begin to help you to trust it even more. That's one of the strategies that you can use. Then we have the ego heart authority, the will center. So if you are an ego authority, you listen to your desire, your will. What do you genuinely want? Not what you think you should want, not what keeps everybody else happy. Your authority is asking you to tune into, what do I truly have the energy and the commitment for? And what you'll find is, if you've made a decision from your mind and not from your will center, you won't have the energy to follow something through. But when you've said yes from your authority, your decision-making strategy, you will have the energy to follow through and commit to that thing. Then we have the self-projected authority, which is when the G center and the throat are defined. So it means you're self-projected. It means your truth comes through speaking. You will hear the truth as you speak, not because somebody gives you advice, but because when you hear yourself speak, your own truth becomes clear and obvious to you. You literally hear your own direction. So soundboarding, speaking into your phone, speaking into ChatGPT, getting a sense of an awareness of what is true for you, and when that click comes in. So here's the invitation. Instead of asking, what should I do? Start asking, Where is my authority asking me to listen? Because your strategy gets you into the right situations. Your authority tells you what to do once you are there. That's the real power of human design. Not predicting your future, not putting yourself in a box, but helping you to make decisions that are increasingly aligned with who you are. And when your decisions change, your life changes. I hope you enjoyed this mini class on human design and decision making. If you would like to have a reading or learn more about your unique energetic blueprint, do reach out to book a session. Um, my You can find me on Instagram at Jessica Ann, the Sovereign CEO, or you can reach out via email to be the expert with human design at gmail.com. Be the expert with human design at gmail.com. Let's get into alignment.